Hello and welcome to Basel, where I have the immense pleasure and honour to be joined by Mишель Лорис-Меликофф, Managing Director of Baselworld. Hello, Mишель.
Hello, Sophie. Good to have you here in Basel.
Yeah, it's wonderful to be here. Thank you for having me. Today we're going to be talking about some really exciting and ambitious plans for Baselworld moving forwards. One question that a lot of people have been asking is, why have you been so quiet these last few months?
Well, I think with this COVID crisis, we had to stay very agile and to analyze the situation as it came. Maybe let us have a look on what happened last year. I mean, we stopped Baselworld, then we worked on the new concept. We launched a new concept called Our Universe. At this time, we already knew that it would be very difficult to relaunch it due to the COVID crisis. We announced the new format in April 21 and worked on this relaunch. And during this period, we had a lot of talks with all stakeholders of the industry, the retailers, the brands, the journalists, the influencers, etc., etc. And we realized in this period last summer that finally, in the mind of everybody, the brand Baselworld was really established and the interest of Our Universe was not so big. So we decided finally to reconsider the branding and this is what we are doing now. So we are very proud to be here today and to announce the rebranding and the reborn of Baselworld.
So the big question is, when and where is the next fair going to take place? So
the big answer is it will be next year in April. It will be during the same period as the Geneva shows.
There's also going to be a quite important digital platform. Can you tell me a little bit about this?
The digital platform is like the live platform. We have the whole industry, we have the brands, we have the collectors, the enthusiasts, the journalists, the fans of all brands that are on this platform. 365, 24/7. That's the difference.
Okay. If I understand correctly, you don't necessarily have to be an exhibitor to be part of this.
No, not at all. I mean, the industry is much bigger than the number of exhibitors we have here in Basel. If we really want to be an attractive platform, we need all different brands. The more brands we have on this platform, the more attractive it becomes for everybody.
When you look back over the last year, almost 2 years even, it's been rock and roll the whole way. What have you learned over this time?
Well, first of all, I love rock and roll. So the new show should also be a little bit more rock and roll as the old one. So this is the first point. The second one is we learned how fast things can change. And we learned that we have to be very close to the industry. We have to listen to the industry. Maybe this has not been done in the past. So for us, it's essential to be very close and to hear what are the expectations of the industry. And finally, what we are launching now is the result of this listening.
When you look ahead to all these plans you have mapped out, what are you most excited about?
Probably for all of us, the most exciting thing is to meet again. To meet again, to share passion around watch, jewelry and gem, to have these very exciting discussions and meetings, and this is also what really drives all of us, to recreate something new, something modern, something inclusive, something very exciting for all of us.
So now we're going to move to the live questions session. Are you ready?
Yes.
Perfect. So send your questions in. We are going to move next door to the studio and take the questions. Welcome back. We're in our second studio where we're going to be taking your live questions. Thank you to everyone who's written in already. My iPad is exploding. If you haven't sent a question in already, please do so. And feel free to put your name. We'd love to know who we're chatting with. So Michel, are you ready?
I'm ready. Very excited to answer the questions.
Brilliant. Now, I hear you have confirmation of dates now.
Yes, absolutely. We could see it in the video very shortly. So, and I think this is probably the first question you want to ask. The next Baselworld will take place in Basel from March 31st to April 4th next year. Yes.
All right, I'll put those dates in my diary.
Absolutely.
Okay, let's see. What do we have? First question, is it the same schedule at SIHH, Watches and Wonders? I guess that's the date.
Yes, it's exactly. So for us, it was very important to organize it at the same time, because it really doesn't make sense that the visitors, the journalists, the retailers, the wholesalers, influencers, all the stakeholders, that they travel twice to Switzerland. So it was very important to have a coordinated date.
Okay.
Yeah.
The next question comes from Markus Curly from Handelszeitung from Zurich.
Curly.
Curly. Oh, yeah, my German needs some work, that's for sure. Thank you, Marcus. So Marcus's question is, aren't the 4 new organisers of watch fairs ultimately outdoing each other?
Well, I think, first of all, I mean, we are on a free market and everybody is free to organize a show. Let me maybe go more into details what it means to create an event. I mean, creating an event, and MCH and Baselworld has this experience for over 1 century, is not just putting a few booths beside another and then inviting companies to fill this booth with product. It needs a little bit more. It needs experience, it needs an understanding what the industry really needs. And so I think in Geneva we have, with Watches and Wonders, we have a very professional organizer. We are as well very professional as we do it, as I mentioned, for a long time. And yes, there are other initiatives. And finally, our client has now the choice to select what is the best for him. And he has also to select which platform provides the best content, the best price, the best platform for networking, etc., etc. And as I mentioned before, we are on a free market and everybody will choose and make his decision.
Yeah, of course.
Yes.
Our next question is about the digital platform. What are your plans on the digital level?
Well, as we mentioned, for us, the new Baselworld includes always 2 elements. The first one is the digital platform. The digital platform is 365, 24/7, is global. So we can be reached in Asia, in the States, everywhere on this planet. And the second element that is very important is, according to the needs that we also recognize on the digital platform, we will create the live platform. We will start with the live platform in Basel, in Switzerland, because Switzerland is, of course, historically, it's the country of the watch industry. But, and this is maybe also a difference to other shows, as we mentioned before, we do not only show watch industry. This is very important to understand. We have, as it was in the past, we offered the platform for the watch industry, the jewelry, the gem, and as well new segments such CPO, we will talk about sustainability, so there will be a lot additional content.
Okay.
Digitally and live.
Okay.
Yes.
How will Baselworld and our universe coexist? Are they different? Are they similar? It's a good question.
In the future, we talk about Baselworld and not anymore about our universe. Our universe does not exist anymore. We talked in the past about Baselworld, and in the future, we talk about Baselworld.
Okay. We have a question now from Bernard Werk, Watching Magazine. The new Baselworld will be in the mid-range luxury segment. The future concept in the mid and high-end segment of the watch. Isn't the future one? Do you already have brands that you can confirm? Or there's lots of questions here. Maybe we'll take one at a time.
So the positioning is correct. So we are in the mid to top segment, but as well as we were open in the past, there will be, of course, also brands from the low segment or the mass production. This was in the past at Baselworld, the segmentation, and in the future, it is always all levels that will be presented.
Okay,
yes.
So Bernard's second question, do you already have brands that you can confirm?
Okay, this is a question that I cannot answer today. I mean, today we are at the starting point. We announce that we are back on the market. We are back with digital. We are back with a live show. So the sales process is going to start now in the next days. And then, of course, we have to decide with the brands whether they announce that they come to Baselworld or we announce it. So today it's too early.
Okay, let's see what we have here. We have a lot of people asking about confirmations. That's obviously a very popular question. So we have here, how are you planning on keeping up with the standard popularity of Baselworld? What is going to be outstanding about the show?
So convincing and creating the buzz or the attractivity of Baselworld has to be done by the professionalism, by the content, by the new concept. And we have a new concept. We are convinced that it is the right one. So we could challenge it last year with our clients. We had a feedback that 80% appreciate the new pricing, the new content, the new booth concept, and all novelties. So we have somehow a feedback that we are on the right way. So with these 80% that are convinced that it is the right way we have to go, we are going to start. And we are going to convince by discussion with every client. And every client is free to decide whether he joins us or not.
Of course, yeah. Okay, our next question is from Alexandra Steiner. Did you discuss with the FHH when developing this new concept?
No, because I mean, we all had huge challenges also with the COVID crisis. I mean, we had to position ourselves regarding the dates, the place. I mean, in Geneva, they have to consider other shows. We in Basel, it was exactly the same. So they are doing their show, and the only coordination we have today is the dates. And of course, I mean, we are in a friendly relationship. There will be discussions if we can coordinate more services. For example, I mean, this is just an example. What can we make to make the travel between Geneva and Basel or vice versa more easier for those clients or for those visitors who want to visit both shows. So these are open topics, but I'm convinced that they also think in the interest of the visitors and the exhibitors as we do. So if there is a wish, there is also a solution.
Okay. Now the next question, this is one that I would have liked to ask you. It was on my list too. What is the response of the watch industry to the new concept?
As I mentioned before, we could challenge this new concept last year, and over 80% confirmed that there was a huge work that has been done in the past regarding the pricing of the booths, regarding the hospitality, meaning also the hotel prices in Basel, regarding the concept, and especially let me come back on the pricing, because this is a question that interests everybody. We were conscious that in the past Baselworld was too expensive, not only for the clients but also for us. Yeah. So it was very difficult with the old booth concept to get a good return on investment. And that was the reason why we changed fundamentally the whole concept. We had to reduce all costs, not only for us, but also for the clients. And talking about the clients, our exhibitors, we had to consider the square meter price, but also the booth concept. You have to imagine in the past, the exhibitor most of them came with their own booth. And the booth, they had to invest in the booth, they had to storage the booth, they had to transport the booth, they had to build the booth and to operate the booth. We are talking here about costs that were easily over 1 million.
Wow.
And due to the crisis we are living, and also due to the fact that the distribution changed, we also had to consider that there is less marketing money, and for that reason we also had to reduce the booth concept to make it more easier to come to Basel, and this is what we have done.
Yeah, that makes sense. So the next question, I've been following Baselworld since 1988, a fair which can't come again. In the new fair, are you going to open to small brands? To small brands? And what about brands of watchmakers, the AHCI or les ateliers?
This is a very good question. As you know, and as this question comes from a person that followed also the last Baselworld, we started in 2019 to create a new section that was called incubators. And in the incubators, we offered the possibility to very small brands to be present to a very interesting price. I think it was something below 5,000 francs. And the success was huge. I mean, we had 20 places, and these 20 places were booked within a few days. So it shows that it's necessary to create a platform for young brands. And we are going to continue this initiative first in Geneva during the Watch Days. I really want to welcome something like 10 incubators, because they need platform, especially after this COVID crisis. And then during Baselworld next year, we are going to repeat this initiative, because I mean, we have to be honest, the industry, not only the watch industry, but also the jewelry and the gem industry, we have to do something for the next generation. And so it's up to us to create a platform for the next ones, for the new ones, to show what they are doing. This is very important. So the education, it's also a question of education for the next generation. We also have to be this platform for the young people.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, so the questions are just coming so fast. Here we go. Question from Ivan or Yvon, I'm not sure, Radia from 24 Heures et Tribune de Genève. How many exhibitors will be present in April 2022 in Baselworld, and what kind of brands?
Okay, so as the question comes from the Romandie, I will maybe switch to French.
Okay, yes, let's do it.
Donc, pour répondre à cette question, notre ambition, c'est d'avoir une plateforme avec à peu près 300 exposants pour le début à Bâle. Et puis, il y aura d'autres plateformes en Asie et aux États-Unis où il y aura peut-être un peu plus. Et par la suite, évidemment, ces 300 devront croître de manière organique. So I translate it, or
yes.
Maybe you want to just...
No, I'll let you do it.
So, we start, I think it's a reasonable size to have something like 300 exhibitors for the first year. But of course, we will have much more, as we intend to have platforms in Asia and the States. There, probably the platform will be a little bit bigger. And of course, in the future, we need organic growth.
Okay, so we have a question now from Nada Freya from AWJ magazine. What will the percentage of watch brands versus jewellery brands be?
Well, I think it's important that we have more or less the same size. So it will be a third watch industry, a third jewellery, and a third gem. Maybe a little bit less than a third, because we also want to show new technologies and also new business solutions for the retailer. This is a very important new segment. I mean, we have to consider all new things that are important for the retailers. And this is not only the products, watch, jewelry, and gem, but it's also services like digital marketing or e-commerce. All this discretion, but also design, the design of a shop, for example. All these services are interesting for a retailer, and we really intend to provide them with new solutions. And then, of course, for the watch industry, it's not only the traditional watches as we know them, but we include, of course, also new services like the CPO. The CPO is a huge market. And So we are very excited to present a new section at Baselworld that is dedicated to CPOs, but also new products such as the wearables, connected watches, and all these new products.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, the next question is from the press, about the press. It's from Daniel Jousselin, Press Business Communications. What is the USP for us to visit the fair and report on it?
Well, I think the USP will be that it is a platform where the whole industry finally will meet, will exchange, will share their passion. It is very important for us that the journalists, as a part of this ecosystem, they also find the best possible place to work and to get the interviews with the brands, but also with the other stakeholders of this industry. So we already started when I started in 2018. For me, it was very important to create really a perfect ambiance and a perfect platform for the journalists to work.
Yeah, it's very important for us to have a good environment.
Absolutely.
Let's see, what do we have? A question from Philippe, who says, greetings from Geneva. So greetings to you, Philippe. Happy that Baselworld is back. What exactly have you planned for collectors and influencers?
Well, for collectors, I think, and this is a very interesting question. We had a lot of discussions with collectors to understand what are their needs. And most of them told me, you know, it's not only seeing unique timepieces from some Geneva top brands, but they are very interested to have a bright diversity. I mean, there are so many small manufacturers in Jura, and we had this manufacturer in the past in Basel, but they are as well in Geneva at Watches and Wonders. This is Les Ateliers. So I think this makes it very exciting for the collectors to see the products. And then what we realized is that every collector is different. So and this makes it also very difficult to answer precisely to this question, because the needs of the collectors are very different. There are a few, they need a platform to exchange, to share, to talk, to have panel discussion, to meet the CEOs. And there are others that are much more confident. They know their friends and they want to maybe have a small meeting room just to meet similar friends or similar collectors. So it's very difficult to give a final answer and to cover all needs of all collectors.
Yeah.
Now for the influencers, I think for the influencer, we have to create also the working platform and also the accessibility to the brands, to the new products, and also to the panel discussion. So we consider that the influencers are also part of this ecosystem, and we will, of course, provide the services they need to work.
Yeah. Okay, so the next question is about watch aficionados. It's from Nick Mayer from Daily Watch. You specifically mentioned the watch fans as a stakeholder. How will this group be facilitated both on the digital platform and during the fair?
So on the digital platform, they have free access. So this is part of our concept, not only the digital, but also the physical. And you see it here on the logo. This circle is not closed. And there is a reason why it's not closed. It symbolizes that it's an inclusive approach. So it will be open to all enthusiasts, physically, but also digitally. Yeah. And physically, it means also, and this is a huge change to the past, that, I mean, in the past, an enthusiast, he could walk through the halls of Baselworld and he could watch maybe in the showcases the products. Our new approach is, and this is also part of the life experience. Life experience for the product means that we should be able to touch them, to admire them, to have easy access to these products, digitally, but also physically. Yeah. And additionally, we have to create panel discussions that are really made not only for the professionals, but also for a brighter audience.
Okay, super. Let's see, what do we have next? We have a question from Benjamin Bruni from Radio Basilisk, I think that's how you pronounce it. What feedback did you receive from the city of Basel on the announcement that Baselworld is back?
Oh, very good ones. So we had yesterday a call with Basel Tourism, and you can imagine that our friends from Basel Tourism, of course, they are very excited that we keep the name Basel. And this is, for us, it was very important. I mean, the brand Baselworld is well known from everybody, everywhere on this planet. And it stands also, and this is important also for Basel to know, it stands also for 1 century of history, a heritage that we have. And maybe to go maybe more into this answer, I mean, it's 1 century of the watch industry. Even if Basel is not the capital of the watch industry, I mean, we have a lot of capitals in Switzerland. We have Geneva, we have Neuchâtel, we have Bienne, we have the whole Jura, and others. But we also have Basel. Why? Because all these iconic products of the whole watch industry, all these iconic products were presented in Basel.
Yes.
And so this was very important for us to keep the brand Baselworld because it stands for 1 century of the watch industry in Switzerland.
Oh, well, I have another question about Basel for you. So we're staying on the same topic. It's a question from Rob Corder from Watch Pro.
Yeah.
Did you consider launching a show outside of Basel where there is so much unhappiness about the hotels, the restaurants, the taxis, etc.?
Okay, thank you, Rob, for this question. As you know, we invested a lot of time in the hospitality in Basel. So, and you can imagine that last year with the COVID crisis, it was maybe easier to make understand all the stakeholders and all the people in the tourism and in the hotel industry how important it is to really change the mindset, the pricing, the way we welcome people here in Basel. So there is a huge work that has been done, and we are really happy about the collaboration we have with the hotels and the tourism office in Basel. But the reason why we consider also doing shows in other locations is that the market is not only in Basel. There is a huge market, as we all know, in Asia, and there is a huge market in the States. And I think, and this is probably also a consequence of the COVID crisis, that people most probably will travel less, but they want to travel in a more efficient way. And it's for that reason that we decided not only to stay here in Switzerland, but also to open new shows, new format platforms in the States, but also in Asia.
I think maybe what Rob was trying to get at also is the pricing,
yeah.
You know, with the hotels, because there was a lot of, you know, the prices were just ridiculously high.
Yeah, I think, I mean, this is what I meant by talking about the huge work we did with the hotels. Of course, nobody is going to pay 5 times the price of an average price of a hotel room.
Sure.
I mean, these times are over. We made a very good debriefing with the hotels, and I'm really very proud of the work that has been done, because everybody in Basel realized that we have to change. And so the price we negotiated next year are confirmed for the next year. So we are back on a realistic price.
Okay, that's great news. I'm glad to hear that. So now switching topics. Yeah, please, well, let's have a drink. We've been
yes.
rapid fire questions here. So switching topics, we have a question from Marcel Veder, Goldor. Are you in contact with Nick Hayek?
I am several times per year in contact with Nick Hayek.
Okay. Would you like to elaborate? Is there anything
well,
more to
we
add?
did not agree on what we want to communicate and how we communicate it, but for me personally, I have a big respect for Mr. Hayek and the work his group is doing. And I inform him regularly, what a word, horrible, about what we are doing. And yeah, it's always a very exciting exchange with him.
Okay, so communications are open?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So next question is from Augusto Veroni. Don't you think that the multiplication of watch fairs is dangerous for the whole Swiss watch industry? And don't you think that European watchmaking should have more attention, even for the smaller brands? So that's two questions. Let's start with the danger for the whole Swiss watch industry.
Well, of course, in my position, of course, I would be happy if there would be only show, and this show would be Baselworld.
Yeah, of course.
But time is changing. And there are new formats. I mean, look, the Geneva Watch Days is a new initiative. It's a very sympathetic one. It's very fresh. It's uncomplicated. It was created in a very agile, flexible way. It's open, and it has success. And what does it mean for us? It means for us that we have to reconsider, and this is what we have done in the last months. We have to reconsider the show as it was. And honestly, the show as it was in the last 20, 30 years, this format does not exist anymore. Mm. Why? Because the expectations are becoming higher. This is the first point. And second, the distribution changed. So we had to consider all these elements when we decided to transform Baselworld. This is what I did when I arrived at Baselworld in 2018, and I announced in 2019 that this transformation will take until a few years, until 23. Yeah. And so we are on track. So last year we had a little bit more time to do this transformation. And we come back now to one of the very first questions regarding the cannibalization. Yeah. Yes, of course, there are a lot of shows, and finally it's the client who will decide what is important for him. Is it enough to have just a booth somewhere in Lausanne or in other cities, or does he need more? Does he need a platform? Does he need a digital platform and a live platform? And the client will decide. Yeah. And now the second question.
So the second part of this question, don't you think that European watchmaking should have more attention, especially for smaller brands?
Absolutely, absolutely. And this is our engagement. And we consider exactly this point, because not every brand is able to pay millions for a presence at Baselworld. So this was a very important, and this was also a feedback we got from a lot of small brands, that for them it was impossible to pay hundreds of thousands of francs for a few days. Yeah. And today we have a solution. We have the digital solution that is a one-year presence for less than 5,000 francs, or a physical presence that can be booked for around 20,000 francs. And for those who think that 20,000 is too expensive, and I talk about the small incubators, we have even lower costs for also smaller booths. And this is very important. Once again, we talked about a little bit earlier, it's also our mission of the show organizer to create a platform that is really interesting for very small brands, not only from Switzerland. There are also a lot of very interesting and attractive brands in France, also in the Jura Français, yeah. But also in Germany, in Italy and other countries, Japan, of course, and China. We have to consider all these new brands that arrive on the market. They have their place.
Yeah, definitely. Right. Next question is from Philippe Belay, who is asking about Geneva Watch Days. Could you be more specific on Baselworld's presence during Geneva Watch Days? I think we need a few more details.
Okay, Philippe, thank you for this question. And let us talk about by phone, but I can give a short answer. what we know today is the place where we are going to be. And we know also that we will have, as I mentioned before, place for 10 incubator small brands, but we will also have space, for a little bit bigger space for other watch brands. And yes, Philip, let's have a talk a little bit later.
Okay, so we have a question now from Anita Katri. Congratulations, first of all.
Thank you very much.
She's delighted to hear the Baselworld is back. She's asking, what can brands expect from this newer Baselworld? Which kind of brands will be part of the new Baselworld 2022?
Well, so we had this question a little bit earlier. It's at this stage today, it's too early to commit on any brand that will participate. The sales process is starting now. We know that 80% of the brands we talked last year are potentially interested. So the brands will get the sales documentation in the very next days and weeks, and then we will start to have one-to-one meeting and to sign the contract. So it's a little bit too early.
Oh. So we have time for one last question, and there are so many. I'm so sorry to everybody that we are not able to answer, but you will answer afterwards,
yeah, of course,
I'm sure. So let's see, we've had a lot of questions from China that we didn't have a chance to answer yet. Let's see, oh no, I think we've answered those. So let's see. Okay, so the last one. Reviving the Baselworld brand is a great idea. Congratulations, and I have no doubt about your success. Are you planning to organise a jewellery design contest as one of the ways to increase the popularity of the Baselworld update?
Yes, the contest. I mean, all our clients, they know that they have a past in the event industry, and I'm always very excited to consider new event platforms. And the contest is indeed something very exciting, because there are so many. I mean, there are already contests in Germany, in Ida Oberstein, for example, but also in other places. And I'm always very excited to see what kind of new products are presented. So it's the best platform to show new design, new products. What is important for us is, I think Switzerland is such a small country, and it doesn't make sense that all organizers have their own contest.
Sure.
My vision and my wish would be that we have, and I share this vision with the organizers of a contest in Geneva. I think in Switzerland there should be one Swiss contest for watch industry, jewelry and gem industry.
Ah, interesting.
Now, people will understand that we have one big challenge. It's the reborn of Baselworld. We are concentrating now on that. But yes, of course, it's a very interesting topic to consider a contest for the watch, jewelry and gem industry.
So we'll stay tuned then on
Yes,
that
of
one.
course.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much, Michel.
It was a pleasure.
It was a pleasure for me too.
Thank you, and thank you to all of you for the interesting questions.
And we'll be following up. Feel free to email if you have further questions. And also, the conversation will continue on social media with a new hashtag Baselworldisback. So on that note, I wish you a lovely day. Goodbye.
Goodbye.